The Grangemouth dispute last month, in which the owner of Scotland's largest industrial complex forced the Unite trade union to cave into its demands on pay and conditions in order to keep the plant open, has drawn attention to the state of labour relations in the UK. While the bitter episode was seen as a crushing defeat for trade unionism, many business chiefs agree with union leaders that the circumstances are unlikely to be repeated elsewhere. And yet the dispute has highlighted key issues facing the movement. While total membership has risen slightly since 2011, the long-term trend has been sharply downwards. The proportion of the workforce who have never been a member of a union also more than doubled from 1985 to 2010, from about 25% to more than half. Frances O'Grady, head of the Trades Union Congress, the movement's umbrella organisation, is under no illusions about her task.
We have to do more to invest in organising, to having mature and sensible conversations with more employers, to promote the benefits that unionisation can bring, not just to workers but to businesses too. Safer, fairer workplaces where we can resolve differences easily rather than end up tied up in legal wrangles. We need to get across our case, but I think that's what we want to do, and we want to work with those employers who also understand that we need a fair country that's good for business but good for workers too.
Adding to the challenge is the changing makeup of unions. In the decade from 2002, the percentage of members who were women rose from 46% to 54%. Those in non-manual work rose by 6 percentage points to 68%, and those with a degree jumped from about a fifth to more than a third. But it's attracting younger people which is proving more difficult.
I think a lot of those issues relating to unions and being unable to recruit is the language that they talk. I'm not sure they talk the language of 25 to 40-year-olds working in a private sector organisation, because I think that you sometimes see on the television union people that have been around a long time who use a particular vocabulary which doesn't necessarily engage with a younger workforce.
So while the trade union movement accepts it faces challenges in recruiting members and remaining relevant, employers are also facing up to new pressures in how to manage their workplace relations. The business community acknowledges that some of the issues employers confront mirror those in the union movement, notably meeting young people's career aspirations.
I see businesses across the country investing in what is our offer and how do we differentiate ourselves. There's a lot more about not just the pay but also the organisation's goals and whether my goals align with the organisation's goals, and also the kind of workplace experience. So a whole range of reasons to be thinking about this, because not only because of who your workforce are today but who they might be tomorrow.
The growing numbers of tasks performed by outsourced companies is also proving problematic for employers, as car maker Jaguar Land Rover discovered when a dispute emerged over the difference in wages paid to some of its direct employees compared with outsourced staff doing similar work.
The dispute there, which was called the Jaguar Land Rover dispute, but it wasn't with Jaguar Land Rover, it was DHL, one of their suppliers, who were actually having the dispute. But that was going to have an impact on Jaguar Land Rover's work. And we're now seeing employers having to pay much more attention to what is happening in their supply chain.
Indeed, the arbitration service has found that the increased outsourcing of contracts is creating new dynamics in labour relations.
We're now seeing disputes where you have more employers than unions. So we're used to one employer, one union. Occasionally you'll have one employer, maybe 3 or 4 unions. New developments that we've had in the last year or so has been the fuel tanker drivers dispute, where we had one union and 6 different employers, and those employers often in competition with each other. The London bus dispute about the Olympic bonus last year, 21 different employers there, and it's much more difficult to try and get a consensus situation when those people are in competition with each other.
As the economy recovers and debate over the rising cost of living escalates, pressure for higher wage claims is expected to mount. But having kept pay under control throughout the downturn, will employers really be keen to give in to union demands to loosen their purse strings and spread the benefits of the rising economic tide? Or will 2014 see a new wave of disputes?
everybody in the trade union movement and many employers would much prefer to resolve differences and come to agreements sitting around a bargaining table rather than be conducting negotiations through protests on the street. In the end, the only way to get lasting, sustainable agreements is by people sitting around a table and coming to that sensible solution.
Amid profound changes in the British workplace and an improving economy, both managers and their employees will have to remain open-minded to ensure that labour relations help rather than hinder the recovery. This is Aglionby in central London for the Financial Times.